When I opened my front door that rainy Tuesday morning, my sister was standing there, soaked, shaking, and crying. I hadn't seen her in 7 years. 7 years earlier, she had taken almost everything from me. My father's company, my home, my money, and worst of all, my family's trust. Now she was standing on my doorstep asking me for help. "Claire," she whispered, "please." I stared at her. "Why?" She looked down at the floor. "Because you're the only person left who can save me." I almost closed the door. But then she handed me an envelope, and what I found inside made me question everything I thought I knew about my sister. My name is Claire Morgan. My sister Jessica is 3 years older than me. Growing up, she was the favorite. She was confident, beautiful, popular, and always knew exactly what to say. I was quieter. I liked numbers, books, and helping Dad with his construction business. Dad used to joke that Jessica was the star of the family. I was the one who kept things running behind the scenes, but Jessica and I were close. At least I thought we were. When she fought with our parents, she'd come into my room. I'd listen. When she was heartbroken, I'd stay awake with her. She used to tell me, "Claire, you're the only person I can trust." I believed her. That became my biggest mistake. Dad died when I was 26. He left behind a successful construction company, a house, and enough money for both of us to start our own lives. Before he died, he told me something I'll never forget. "You understand this business better than anyone, Claire. If you want it, take care of it." I was still grieving when Jessica hugged me. "We'll do it together," she said. "We're sisters." I trusted her. For the first year, everything went well. Jessica handled clients, I handled the finances. The company grew. Then Jessica told me we needed to restructure the business. "It's just paperwork," she said. I hesitated. She smiled. "Claire, I'm your sister. You really think I'd ever hurt you?" So I signed. That one signature changed my life. A few months later, I walked into the office and found a lawyer waiting for me. He handed me a folder. I opened it. Then I read it again and again. Jessica had transferred the majority ownership of Dad's company to herself. I stared at the lawyer. "This can't be right." He lowered his eyes. "I'm afraid it is." I called Jessica. No answer. Then my phone buzzed. A text. "I'm sorry, Claire. You're emotional about Dad's death. I'm doing what's best for the company." I drove straight to my parents' house. Jessica was already there. My mother was sitting beside her. I looked at them. "Tell me this isn't true." My mother sighed. "Jessica is better suited to run the company." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're choosing her?" My mother looked at me. "I'm choosing the person who can protect what your father built." That sentence hurt more than losing the company, because it meant they had already decided who I was. Then I discovered the house was gone too. Jessica had convinced me to refinance it while we were restructuring the business. The paperwork I'd signed gave the bank rights over the property. I had trusted my sister. She had used that trust against me. Within months, I lost the company, then my home, then most of my savings. I moved into a tiny apartment and started working 2 jobs. During the day, I worked at an accounting firm. At night, I delivered groceries. Sometimes I came home after midnight and ate dinner standing in my kitchen because I was too tired to sit down. I kept telling myself, this is temporary. But the worst part wasn't the money. It was knowing that the people I loved had watched it happen. And nobody stopped her. 6 months later, Jessica got married. I received an invitation. I almost threw it away. Then I saw a handwritten note from my mother. Family should be together on important days. So I went. Jessica looked beautiful. She introduced me to her friends as her little sister who worked in accounting. Nothing more. During the reception, she stood up and thanked our parents. "My family taught me something important," she said. You have to be strong enough to take what you deserve. Everyone applauded. I sat there listening. Then I quietly left. That was the last time I saw my family. For 7 years. I could have spent those 7 years trying to get revenge. Instead, I decided to rebuild. I stayed at the accounting firm. I learned everything I could about small businesses. Then I started helping struggling business owners organize their finances. At first, I worked from my apartment. 1 client became 3. 3 became 10. Eventually, I hired my first employee. Then, another. 5 years later, I had built a consulting company with clients across the country. I bought a house, my own house, and I married Daniel. He had known me when I was broke, when I was working 2 jobs, when I was eating instant noodles because I couldn't afford anything else. He never cared about what I owned. He cared about who I was. For the first time, I understood something. I hadn't lost everything. I'd lost the things that were never truly mine. Then Jessica came to my door. She handed me the envelope. Inside were bank statements, legal notices, and loan documents. Her company was collapsing. The construction business she'd taken from Dad was drowning in debt. Clients were leaving, the bank was threatening foreclosure, and my mother had serious medical bills Jessica could no longer pay. I looked at my sister. "You want money?" She shook her head. "No. Then what do you want?" Her voice broke. "I want you to come back." I frowned. "Come back to what?" She whispered. "Dad's company." I spent that night reading every document. Something didn't make sense. The company was struggling, but the numbers didn't explain where all the money had gone. The next morning, I called someone who had worked with Dad for years. He met me at a coffee shop. Then he slid a folder across the table. "Your sister didn't cause all of this," he said. I looked at him. "What do you mean? Someone was taking money from the company for years." I opened the folder. Bank transfers, private accounts, payments, and then I saw the name, my mother. Hundreds of thousands of dollars had been transferred out of Dad's company. My hands went cold. Why? He looked at me. I don't know, but I knew exactly who might. I confronted Jessica. She broke down. "Mom told me Dad was planning to leave the company to you." I stared at her. "What?" "She said you were trying to push me out. So you stole it?" "I was scared. You lied to me. Yes, you destroyed my life." Jessica started crying. And Mom destroyed mine. She told me everything. Our mother had spent years convincing Jessica that I wanted everything for myself. She told Jessica that if she didn't take control, I would eventually take the company, the house, and Dad's money. Jessica believed her. But that didn't excuse what she had done. She had still betrayed me. She had still signed those documents. She had still watched me lose everything. Then she pulled something from her bag, an old photograph. It was Dad. Jessica and I were little girls. We were standing on either side of him, holding hands. I hadn't seen that picture in years. Jessica looked at it. "I've spent 7 years trying to become the daughter Mom wanted." She wiped her tears. "And I lost the sister who actually loved me." I didn't forgive her that day. Forgiveness isn't a switch. You don't turn it on because someone finally says sorry. But I helped her. Not by giving her money. I helped her find a lawyer. We exposed the money my mother had taken. We separated Jessica from the debts she was legally responsible for. The company was eventually sold. My mother had to face the consequences of what she'd done. And Jessica had to live with hers. Months later, Jessica asked me something. "Do you hate me?" I thought about it. No, she looked surprised. "I hate what you did," I told her. "But I don't want to spend the rest of my life hating you." She started crying. Then she asked, "Do you wish you'd never trusted me?" I smiled sadly. "No, I just wish I'd trusted myself sooner." Today, I still have that old photograph of the two of us. It's on my desk. Two little girls who believed they would always have each other. Life didn't turn out that way. But maybe that's okay. Because sometimes people take things from us that we think we can't live without. A home, a career, money, a family. And only later do we realize something important. They didn't take our entire life. They simply forced us to build a new one. A life that belongs to us. Not to our parents, not to our siblings, not to the people who once decided whether we were worthy. To us. And that's why, when Jessica stood on my doorstep years later and begged me for help, I didn't see the sister who had taken everything from me. I saw the sister I had loved before we became enemies, and I chose to help her. Not because she deserved everything back, but because I deserved to stop carrying the anger. Now I want to ask you something. If your own brother or sister betrayed you, took your money, destroyed your relationship with your family, and then came back years later begging for your help, would you open the door? Or would you look them in the eyes and say, "You made your choice. Now live with it. Don't just comment forgive or walk away. Tell me why." Because someone reading your answer may be dealing with the same kind of betrayal right now. And your words might help them make a decision they've been afraid to make. This is Calm Family Secrets, where we share emotional stories about family betrayal, hidden secrets, heartbreak, forgiveness, and the strength it takes to rebuild your life. If this story touched you, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Calm Family Secrets for more powerful family stories. And remember, sometimes the people who take everything from you accidentally give you the one thing they never meant to give you: the freedom to build a life that no longer depends on them. I'll see you in the next story.